Club Ivoire is the film festival for ECOWAS regions, especially for young people, that's amateur filmmakers. You have, like in Cannes Festival, you have the Amiens Festival, which always precedes the Cannes Festival in France. It's more or less the same thing. FESPACO is for the professional filmmakers in Africa.
That is the one which is done in Burkina
Faso.
Okay.
And the Club Ivoire is done in Ivory Coast, which is also the preliminary film festival, which leads to the professional one, which is done in Ivory Coast. That's FESPACO. Okay. So I think basically we are working towards, for the first time, the Gambia competing in Club Ivoire.
Okay. As you've just said, amateurs, not necessarily young filmmakers, but how can they participate in this Club Ivoire filmmaking show?
Yeah, with regards to, there is a criteria. In fact, it's in relation to that. That's why we are calling upon Gambian filmmakers or those who are interested in competing for the Club Ivoire, which is the ECOWAS Film Festival. Those who are interested in competing into it. We are giving an orientation in my office. That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the National Center for Arts and Culture, at the premises, the National Museum's premises. We will be doing an orientation of the criteria, because all that we are calling the young filmmakers is to respond, to come in their numbers, to listen to some of the criteria that, because it's not a long feature filmmaking. We are trying with 13 minutes, it's like 13 minutes film, and then there is no team, just let it just be attractive, and basically...
okay, that's the time frame given to the film, but what other features are you looking for in a film, or what are the specific type of films that you would...
Well, we're looking for documentaries, actually documentaries in 13 minutes, you know, and then we're looking for featured films, you know, whereby you can have your Kumbabu Amday and Kumbabu Amunday stories, you know, made into a 13-minute short film, and we're looking for non-fictions too, which are... Well, I wonder if we Gambians have really started, you know, making non-fiction. Yeah, whereby we're talking about great animations and stuff like that. But what we are calling upon at the moment, it's like those who are really interested in filmmaking.
Shea Omar Jallo of the National Center for Arts and Culture and the fast approaching Club Ivoire Film Festival. Hundreds of mourners gathered in Talending on Wednesday afternoon to pay their last respects to the late Sheikh Jibril Mahdi Kujabi. Colleagues described the death of the Muslim religious leader who died on Tuesday as a great loss to the Gambia. A delegation dispatched by the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, joined mourners paying tribute to the former top official of the Talending Islamic Institute. May his soul rest in perfect peace. The next Operation Clean the Nation is slated for Saturday, 27 April 2013 throughout the country. A news release from the National Environment Agency states that the initiative has had very positive impacts on the health status of the general citizenry, and adds that many studies have confirmed that the main reason for the significant drop in malaria cases, as much as 40% in some places, can be mainly attributed to this initiative. The initiative, dubbed Operation Clean the Nation, the dispatch arts targets the root causes of vector-borne diseases by eliminating the breeding grounds of the insects that spread such diseases. The initiative, the dispatch argues, should therefore be supported wholeheartedly by all those residing in the Gambia, because the benefits are reaped by one and all. NEA reminds governors, Seifolu, Alkalulu, ward councillors and government institutions of the strong presidential directives requiring all of them to organize and fully participate in the next Operation Clean the Nation exercise within their respective areas of jurisdiction throughout the country. The release ends. Well, we're going to take a very short break now. The news continues when we come back. Well, over to news from outside the Gambia now. The sole surviving suspect in the Boston Marathon bombing could be moved out of hospital in the coming days. Jahar Sanayev's condition has improved from serious to fair. He has been responding to questions from investigators, slowly revealing details about the Boston Marathon bombing. According to some accounts, the brothers' radicalization may have roots in the United States, and CNN's Brian Todd explores the angle.
As motivating factors in the Boston Marathon bombings. Investigators still have to determine if that information is accurate. Tsarnaev has already told investigators they acted alone, that his older brother, Tamerlan, was the driving force behind the attacks, motivated by jihadist thought, defending Islam. But how did Tamerlan Tsarnaev become radicalized? U.S. government sources say the younger brothers told authorities there was an online component to the radicalization, watching videos. A government official says the preachings of American-born jihadist Anwar al-Awlaki, killed by a U.S. drone attack, were likely to have been among those videos. But was there someone else involved in the older brother's radicalization? His uncle implies there was someone who had sway over him.
I know some guy who became somehow Tamerlan's friend, who completely just took his brains away.
It's not clear who that is. As to when, the uncle says he noticed his older nephew's radicalization as far back as 2009. But there are other pieces to the puzzle. A key question, where did any radicalization of Tamerlan Tsarnaev occur? We know he went to Dagestan in Russia last year for several months, but it's not clear if it occurred there. Did it happen here at the mosque in Cambridge that he attended, where he had two well-known outbursts? We came here to put that to mosque leaders. Those leaders say in those outbursts, Tamerlan Tsarnaev blasted them for what they say is their moderate theology. They say they told him to back off, and if he did it again, he'd be cut off.
What's clear from both these two, incidences is that, the radicalization didn't happen here, in the center. If it did happen, because we're still learning so much about this case, get different accounts.
Maybe the most puzzling question, why? What triggered Tamerlan's radicalization? Luis Vasquez, who befriended Tamerlan at Cambridge Ringe and Latin High School, later coached younger brother Jahar Tsarnaev in soccer. He says he last saw Tamerlan about 3 years ago. When I asked Vasquez why his friend drifted toward radical Islam,
the only thing I can think of, I only want to say what I'm sure of, is that one of the sources of this could have been some kind of dissatisfaction of the bad, slow transition to coming to another country from a different one as a teenager. That's never easy.
Vasquez now shares the sentiments of people at the mosque, perplexed as to why the man they knew drifted in that direction, and angry that he did it. Brian Todd, CNN, Boston.
An 8-story building has collapsed on the outskirts of Bangladeshi capital Dhaka. Rescue crews are working round the clock to find survivors under the huge rubble. Reports say more than 70 people have died and hundreds others trapped in the collapsed garment factory. We have details of that story in this report.
They believe that at least 1,000 people could still be trapped underneath that rubble of that 8-story building. Now, Army officials who have been conducting much of the rescue operation there say at least 70 people have died, another 700 have been injured, and they too believe that many more could still be trapped underneath that rubble. Now, I spoke to a Army officer earlier who's conducting some of this operation, and he said that they've been working frantically since 9 in the morning, so 8 hours ago, trying to pull out as many survivors as they can, but the rescue operation is still very much on. Christy.
It's such a frightening situation with, as you're reporting, 1,000 people may still be trapped inside the rubble after this collapse. Can you tell us more about the building itself? I mean, what kind of companies were inside, and was there any sign, any indication that the building just was not safe?
Well, from that very tragic scene in Bangladesh there, a reminder of our top stories before we go. Vice President Ajad Dr. Asatunjai Saidi has launched the UNDP's Global Human Development Report 2013 entitled The Rise of the South, Human Progress in a Diverse World. 30 members of the National Assembly Public Accounts and Public Enterprises Committees have been honing their auditing skills ahead of the commencement of the annual PAC and PEC sessions. More than 70 people have died and hundreds others trapped under tons of rubble in yet another tragedy involving workers in Bangladesh accident-prone garment industry. And authorities have reported the imminent discharge of the remaining suspect in the Boston Marathon bombing from hospital against the backdrop of intense efforts to glean more information about the attack. Well, that's your bulletin for tonight. Thanks for the pleasure of your company and